Hello, it's Lisa again. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you my views on some controversial parenting topics. So I did this a couple years ago and people liked it, so I thought I'd do it again, except the questions I did last time were a lot related to babies, because at that time my kids were mostly babies. But I wanted to do one this time with a little bit more age-relevant questions for my kids that are 2, 4, and 6. So the topics will be vaccines, spanking or how I discipline my kids, screen time, child care or daycares, schooling, how I school my kids, and eating rules. How I deal with eating, kids and eating, which can always be a struggle too. So let me dive right into it. The first one was vaccines. I feel like that's an easy one to get into because I have an easy answer for that. I vaccinate my kids. Follow the vaccination schedule that Canada has laid out for babies. I have not questioned that at all. I just go follow what they tell me because I am not the only parent in this house, and my husband and his family are more like traditional medicine, and my father-in-law is a doctor, my sister-in-law is a nurse. They're very pro medical, what the medical system tells you to do. So I'm not even going to start a fight with that. I'm just going to do it. And I also believe, for the most part, the vaccines that they give are generally helpful for kids, and they do prevent things like polio and stuff that I don't want my kids to have long-term health issues from. However, when it comes to the COVID vaccine, I have not given my kids the vaccine. I don't believe that it's that effective. I think that their immune systems could handle COVID by themselves because they're strong, healthy kids. And I will not get them a vaccine unless it's required for travel, because my in-laws are from South Korea and I want my kids to have a relationship with their grandparents, and we are planning to see them next year, hopefully. So my 2-year-old actually has not met his grandfather yet because it's not that easy to travel, and all the COVID stuff kind of put travel plans off for a long time. So if the opportunity arises and we have to get COVID vaccines to travel to see grandparents, I will get my kids the COVID vaccines then. I'm not super worried that they're very harmful. I just don't think that they're effective, so I haven't made my kids get them yet. So that's vaccinations. Number 2 is spanking or discipline. So as a kid, I was spanked. I do not feel like at all traumatized by that. I feel like if spanking is done properly, it can be an effective form of discipline. I have used spanking in my parenting. I do use it at times when the kid is being very defiant and they are putting other children at risk or harming other children. Then I will spank them, and I will, remove them from the situation. Yes, that's about all. Spanking is not my go-to form of discipline, but I do think it can be used if you're using it in a controlled setting to young children that you can't have a proper discussion with because the understanding is not there. Nowadays, I don't remember the last time I spanked my 6-year-old or 4-year-old even, because I can have discussions with them and they can understand why what they're doing is wrong, and I feel like that goes further, and I'm here to teach them, not to like just be dominant over them. I feel like as a mother, my main job is to be the first church to them, and how I understand to do that is show them Jesus' love and forgiveness. So my main goal as a mother is for them to know that they are loved and that they are forgiven often, because that is the message of the gospel. So yes, I feel like when that is your main goal and they know they're loved and they know they're safe and protected and respected for who they are, then I think whatever form of discipline you're doing, as long as you're respecting the child and looking out for their best interest, it is okay. Now, I know spanking can go cross the boundary and be harmful and abusive, and I don't recommend it if you're using it out of anger in a situation where you kind of are losing control of your emotions. I don't think it's a good idea to use that. But in my parenting, where I struggle more is using words when I am angry and out of control to harm too. And I think we have to be careful to remember that physical harm is not the only form of abuse. You can really hurt somebody using words, and I have to be careful with my words because that is my go-to kind of lashing out, or when I get really frustrated, and I have to apologize to my kids many times for using vulgar language in front of them when I lose my cool. So yeah, that's my thing about the argument against spanking is like, let's not forget that there are other ways you can harm somebody besides spanking. That's not the only way we can harm people, and I think words can last longer and cut deeper than any kind of form of hitting. That's all I'm going to say on that topic. So number 3 is screen time. So I actually do not have any limits on screen time in my house. My kids do get to watch a lot of TV, and they have their own phones. I recently bought them because I was tired of them using my phone and putting all these kids' apps on it and using up all the storage. So I bought them like some old used phones so they could leave mine alone. And I do try to create other activities besides screen time that we can do that involves like going outside, playing at the park, and taking them out to other places and doing crafts and stuff like that. But there are limited resources in our house because we have one income. We live off one income. So realistically, it costs a lot of money to be going somewhere all the time and having all the things and giving your child the, most healthy childhood they could have. So TV is cheap, and that is why we still watch quite a bit of TV. Also, I feel like kind of hypocritical to give my kids screen time if I'm gonna be using screens often too. That's all. We do the best we can, but a lot of the time I don't have the extra resources for them to be doing all the things all the time, so we do watch TV. Number 4 is daycare. I don't like daycare. I had my kids in daycare or childcare and was working full time when my first two were young. And we did that off and on because in Canada you have 1 year maternity leaves. So I had a baby, had the 1 year maternity leave, then I went to work for like 6 months, then I had the next maternity leave, then I went to work for another 6 months, and then I quit my job and stayed home full time because it was just like I was paying half my wage to daycare. We were never, my husband and I were not ever spending quality time together. We were all tired and stressed out, and I kept having to leave work because for whatever reason, the daycare, would call. But through that journey of becoming a stay-at-home mother, I have really realized how beneficial it is for the kids to be at home with mom. Mom, I think, is the best person. Mom will love, mom takes care of them out of love. Nobody will love the kids more. Nobody will spend the effort to try to get these kids set up as best they can in life. Nobody will discipline them because if they're at daycare, they're not really allowed to discipline them well. They just have to, crowd control. They can't focus on your kid and try to get them to learn how to share and respect other people and stuff. So I really think that daycare is doing this generation a disservice because people are not learning discipline, and I feel like kids need to learn how to respect authority and follow rules and get along with each other. And if mom's not teaching them, the one that loves them the most, or dad, whoever's at home, then they're going to have to learn from someone that doesn't love them, and they may learn the hard way, like on the playground or with, someone that, if they're not learning how to share properly or whatever, it might get like punched in the face. And that's not what I want for my kids. So I feel like really being at home and learning the basic, etiquette to get along with people in the world and follow authority, because we always are going to have like a teacher or a boss or something that's going to be telling us what to do. We got to learn that. Anyways, that's that. So number 5 is schooling. I have my kids in Catholic school. When my oldest was in kindergarten, it was fall 2020 when she was supposed to go to kindergarten. So I homeschooled her for that because I didn't want to deal with all the COVID crap. And I had a difficult time keeping her on task and getting, enough work done in a day on her schooling, as I was looking after my other 2 younger children, and also I was babysitting another kid. So yes, I found that very difficult. I also found through COVID that we were very isolated. I know it's not like that. It would not be like that now, but that year of being super isolated and basically seeing nobody for a year was, way too much for me. It really did a, thing to my mental health. And I felt like right now at this time, it's best if we put the kids in some community school, so we're getting involved in the community and we're getting some social life. And I already struggled with social problems to begin with, so I really didn't want to negatively affect my children's social life by trying to homeschool them and then not doing a very good job socially. I don't know. Maybe I could figure that out, but for now, they are going to a Catholic school. In Canada, Catholic schools are also free. So we had the option to put them in a Catholic school or a public school for free. So I put them in the Catholic school because it was the closest one to our house, and we are Catholic, and I felt like having the religious elements in their education would be a nice thing. And it has been a nice thing because they are learning prayers and stuff at school, which I feel is very, I don't know, it's just nice. It's nice to have that in the school. So that is why I chose to put them in the Catholic school system. Number 6 is eating rules, or how I deal with feeding my children. I have struggled myself the last couple of years with eating properly and weight problems and all of that, trying to eat healthy. So I really worry about passing on my problems with food to my children. So that's one thing that's kind of weighing on me as I try to figure out how best to deal with my kids and their eating habits. But yes, and before I go all into this is a work in progress like anything else in parenting, but I really haven't figured out the best answer for this yet. But for now, what I'm doing is I'm basically providing them meals, and they can decide if they're going to eat it or not. But I don't usually provide anything special to replace, if they're not going to eat what I cooked, then they can go hungry, I guess. But I'm not going to fight with them for an hour and waste my time trying to get them to eat something that they don't want to eat, and then they gag it up or something. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I do not force them to eat anything. Also, most of my kids are good. I have one picky eater, and they, like, the things they're picky about are usually like carbs. And because I have diabetes in my family and I struggle myself right now with high insulin, I don't really feel like it's worth forcing them to eat carbs, because if it's in their family history, they need to probably be careful not to eat so many carbs anyways. And they do have quite a few different vegetable options they like to eat, and they do eat some protein, so I'm okay with that. That's the main things I'm concerned about, is if they're eating veggies and they're eating protein. And a lot of the time they eat seaweed and rice as a meal, which we always have that, or we don't always have seaweed, but we always have rice on hand, so I'm okay with that. And the other thing is, kid is exercising enough that if they are eating too many carbs, they're gonna burn it off when they're running around. So yes, that is my controversial parenting opinions. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Comment down below. I would love to have a healthy discussion with you about it. If you have your own channel and you've done this recently or are going to, comment and let me know your channel name so I can go check out your controversial views. And thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.